There is a fundamental rule of the wilderness ingrained in our DNA over hundreds of thousands of years. Canines, pups, do not walk on two legs. Wolves hunt in packs. They sprint on all fours. They belong to the earth. But what happens when a biological rule is broken? What happens when you look into the dark timber and the predator looking back at you is standing 7 feet tall, almost as tall as me? But hold on there. This isn't a werewolf. A werewolf is a European myth about a cursed human that shifts into a beast. The creature we are looking for tonight has never been human to begin with. It is known as the Dogman, a massive bipedal canine with broad shoulders, clawed hands, and amber eyes that reflect a terrifying intelligence. It technically shouldn't exist, and it may not, who knows. Biology says it can't exist, yet thousands of terrified witnesses, from seasoned hunters to highway patrolmen, swear that it does. Put me in that list too, dang it. I've never seen it, but I know he's out there. Tonight, we track the apex predator of the unknown. Where did the Dogman come from? What happens when you cross its path? And what terrifying truth is hiding deep in the woods of North America? To trace the origins of this Dogman fella, we have to look at the sprawling, unbroken forests of the American Midwest, specifically Michigan and Wisconsin. In 1987, a radio DJ named Steve Cook recorded a song called The Legend, my nickname in high school. It was meant to be an April Fool's joke, a catchy tune about a creature that appeared in a 10-year cycle. But when the song aired, the radio station's phones lit up. Callers weren't laughing, they were terrified. They were calling to report they have seen the exact creature Cook was singing about. But the reports didn't start in the 1980s. Way back in 1887, in Wexford County, Michigan, 2 lumberjacks reported being stalked by a creature with a man's body and a dog's head. It didn't run from them. It simply watched them from the tree line, standing completely upright, before dropping to all fours and bounding away at an impossible speed. In the 1930s, in Paris, Michigan, a man was attacked by a feral bipedal canine that he managed to fight off. Okay. I'm having a hard time believing that this dude fought a Dogman off. Unless this dude is just a monstrosity of a man. But you know what? We'll give him this one. Leaving his hunting dogs traumatized and refusing to enter the woods. Okay, so after this situation, his dogs were scared beyond belief. And then there's the infamous Beast of Bray Road. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Elkhorn, Wisconsin became ground zero for Dogman activity. Drivers reported seeing a massive wolf-like creature kneeling by the side of the road, scavenging for roadkill. When their headlights hit, the creature didn't scatter like a coyote. Instead, fella just stood up. Witnesses described a creature standing over 6 feet tall, heavily muscled, with pointed ears and a snout. It possessed hands that could grasp and manipulate objects, not just paws. The creature would stare down the vehicles, projecting an aura of sheer dominance before retreating into the cornfields. When people encounter the Dogman, it's rarely just a fleeting glimpse. Witnesses consistently report a sequence of events that plays out like a horror film. It almost always begins with the silence. Researchers call it the Oz factor, a sudden suffocating quiet. The animals know something is there. Next comes the smell. Not the musky scent of a bear or skunk, but something worse. Witnesses always describe the stench of rotting meat mixed with wet dog and sulfur. Sulfur is always involved in these things. It's a common theme. It triggers an immediate, visceral fight or flight response. But let me take you back into the woods of upstate New York. A seasoned bow hunter is sitting on a blind, 20 feet off the ground. It's early morning. He hears heavy, bipedal footsteps crunching through the dead leaves. He assumes it's another hunter trespassing on private land. But he decides to lean over and take a look. Below him is a creature out of a nightmare. It is 7 feet tall, covered in matted black hair, with a chest like SkadzART. What? Like SkadzART? Must be a typo here. A chest like a silverback gorilla in the head of a monstrous timber wolf. So this guy then freezes. He has a weapon, but he knows instinctively that an arrow won't stop this thing. But then the creature does something that haunts the hunter to this day. It stops, sniffs the air, and then it looks straight up into the tree blind. Animals rarely look up, but this creature knew exactly where he was. It stared at him with glowing amber eyes, maintaining eye contact for what felt like an eternity, assessing him not as a threat but as prey. Finally, it turned and walked effortlessly into the thick brush. This isn't an isolated story. From the swamplands of Louisiana, where they call it the ragau, it's along those lines, to the land between the lakes of Kentucky, the encounters share terrifying, consistent detail. The sheer size, the unnatural speed, and the overwhelming feeling of dread. So, we are left with the ultimate question. What are we dealing with here? And do they need to send me? The misidentification theory. Most scientifically grounded explanations are misidentification. A black bear suffering from severe mange, maybe, walking on his hind legs due to injured front paws, and can look remarkably like a werewolf. It's tall, it has a snout, and it looks monstrous. But this fails to account for the speed, the canine features, and the predatory intelligence witnesses describe. Bears on two legs waddle, they don't sprint. And I don't know if people would be seeing so many bears suffering from mange walking on their hind legs due to injured front paws. I mean, come on. It's a dogman. We all get it. We all know it. There is the relic hominid theory. Could the dogman be an undiscovered offshoot of evolution? This is an awesome theory. A missing link that went down a canine evolutionary path rather than an ape-like one. Cryptid researchers suggest it could be a flesh and blood animal, incredibly rare, with a lifespan and intelligence that allows it to perfectly evade human detection and trail cameras. I think that's, other than obviously the paranormal theory, but I think that's a super cool theory. It goes along with the Sasquatch theory, that they are an offshoot of some distant cousins that went down a different path and became the gods of the forest, if you will. But let's get into the paranormal or interdimensional theory. Many researchers hit a wall with a biological theory. Dogmen are often seen in areas with high UFO activity or in the same woods where Bigfoot is spotted. Sometimes witnesses claim the creature simply vanishes into thin air, or that their encounter involved missing time gaps. This leads to the fringe theory that Dogman isn't a natural animal at all, but an interdimensional traveler, a guardian or a glitch in the fabric of our reality, slipping through portals in remote areas, which is possible, right? I mean, anything's possible at this point. We like to believe we have encountered the entire natural world. We paved the roads, we mapped the forests, we convinced ourselves that only monsters out there are human, but the Dogman phenomena strips away that arrogance. It reminds us that there are still deep, dark pockets of wilderness where we are not the apex predator. We are just visitors. Whether it is flesh and blood, relic of a forgotten age, a government experiment gone wrong, which would also be another really cool explanation, that maybe this is a government experiment splicing human genetics with canine genetics with, I don't know, Nephilim genetics. I don't know how they got their immense size, but it's fun to mess around with. That's a fun theory. But anywho, the sheer volume of encounters makes one thing very clear. The woods do not belong to us. So if you find yourself deep in the forest and suddenly everything goes quiet, don't wait for the smell of wet dog and sulfur. Just book it out of there, homeboy. But anywho, that'll do it, gang. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Who you want me to draw in the future. What poster you want me to draw in the future. All that jazz. Subscribe if you enjoyed. And I'll see you next time. Peace.